You're all welcome to this part of the world anyway, and we'll tell you a few tales when we reach the top of the hills. But maybe we are here as a group of farmers. I suppose the way the world has evolved, that one time our ancestors sat by the fire and told stories all night and done it for nothing, and the generations before it done it for nothing and never expected anything for it. But the way farming is and the way it has become, it's a case of hustling for a living. And whether that is rising a few stone walls for a neighbour, or maybe telling a few stories and getting a few pounds for it, that's the way it has evolved, and there's nothing wrong with that. So we're a group of farmers who's got together, and we're in a position like to invite people on the land and maybe get a few pounds for showing them the archaeological sites and the type of farming we do and so forth. And every farm is so different, and the farmers in it has a great knowledge of and depth of landscape and of story and of tradition, which is very important in the world we live in. I farm a farm here consisting of 225 acres around by the walls. In the Burren, you never say what size is your farm, you say what can your farm feed, because there's so much scrub, like there's a rock over there and there's so much scrubland. The question you ask is what can your farm feed? Because my neighbour here up the road, Mickey Mannon, God be good to him, had 400 acres and he still had 20 cows in it. There wasn't a shed built in the farm with 150 years, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing or not. But we winter everything outside, and all over the world there is a practice, in every place in the world, literally, except the Burren, where stock are brought off the mountains and put into the lowlands and put into the sheds for the winter. We do the exact opposite in the Burren. We put the cattle above in the mountains and above in the hills for the winter time. And that conversation is a very important conversation, because the cattle eats back the grasses, and because of that the flowers and so forth will bloom and blossom, and they need that light and freedom to bloom. Other than that, you will not have the flowers. And of course the Burren is an incredible place. That is one of the reasons I ask people to come up here. Like we're after a long winter here in the west of Ireland. We get between 60 and 90 inches of rainfall, and all of a sudden towards the end and the last days of February, the light changes, and that's the very first sign of spring. It's like, it's like a light is switched on from within the hills. That's the very first sign of spring, the way the light changes. And that is one of the reasons I want to bring people high up, that they can appreciate that light, because the essence of life, after all, and I don't want to get too philosophical about it, is to be fully alive. That's the essence of life, to be fully alive. And in the springtime in the Burren, there's an incredible anticipation, about to unfold. It's when you're away, the bluegrass, I seen the bluegrass, the Canawan, the old people used to call it. Have you seen it, Frank? It's the first sign. Once that blooms, the old people used to say the worst would be over for the cattle in the mountains, because there's a little nutrients in it, and it's this incredible bluegrass. There is a Latin name for it, which we call it the Canavan or the Canawan. And of course then you'll have the gentian in a few more weeks, and you'll have the early purple orchid, and the whole Burren is about to explode. And it is an incredible special place, and it's the interconnectedness of our human story on the land. There's a human story here on these hills going back 8,000 years. Above on that ledge here, there's old graves there, older than the pyramids of Egypt. And it's full of myth, and it's full of story, and it's full of all that is rich and wonderful. And to be part, as a farmer, to be part of that symphony of life in the springtime, really, I often felt walking those hills, I wish I could show the world what's up there, and the sights you'd see and the feeling. And this is one of the most incredible times of the year, approaching the spring, because there's going to be an explosion of richness and of wonderful and of life and so forth. And up here on top of the mountain we have a fort, and there's an old sister grave as well up there. So I just do.
Maybe they can talk. And
no. Frank, are you a golfer?
stone in cold or cooled out. Do you want to use that stone?
Don't